happens if you stick your tongue out?
You'd lick the
creepy.
book.
Hi everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris.
We're here to talk about Friday reading.
Yes, looking forward to another weekend of reading.
Indeed. I thought I would start with one that I'm kind of in the middle of, which is We Should Not Be Friends by Will Schwalbe. I started this book last week via audio. I was doing a drive to Boston and knew I'd be spending like 6 hours driving, and I thought, who better to keep me company than Will?
Other than me.
Other than you.
But, you know.
Yeah, I was going for work, not for pleasure, sadly. Will was our guest on episode 101. Kind of ironic since episode 201 just dropped.
That's amazing.
On Tuesday. It is.
Time.
Yeah, and this is a memoir that he wrote about his time when he was in a secret society in Yale. And this society, the whole point of it was to put people who were very different together. And they had to agree, it was their junior year in college, and they had to agree to meet for dinner twice a week as a group in their secret society. They also spent time doing what they called audits, where they would talk for hours about themselves. They each had an assigned evening, and they would talk for 4 to 6 hours about their life.
And was that like a structured presentation?
Yeah.
Pretty much? Okay.
It was a structured presentation, and once they got through that, they actually then invited guests at different points to come and present things about themselves too. You know, this is a time when, you know, your junior year in college, you're not ready to flee college, but you are definitely starting to think about, like, what am I going to do next? And so they would invite people who had different careers and things like that. But We Should Not Be Friends focuses on his relationship with one of his fellow Yaleys and people who are in the secret society, whose name was Maxie, who was the classic, like, jock, and Will wanted nothing to do with him. And for various reasons, they end up forming a strong friendship, and that's what he writes about in the book. So it starts at that point, but then it also, the point I'm at in it, he's now the Will that we know, who's in the publishing industry, and his mother has passed away, and he wrote the memoir,
the End of Your Life book club.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. He narrates, just wonderful.
Nice. You know, it makes me think of that book I read about Yale's secret societies, and how it must have been like in the 70s and the 80s when they were trying to diversify a little bit more, because so many of the secret societies, it was, you know, white guys, straight white guys, Protestant, you know, and that there was a real effort for a while to diversify and to bring different people together.
Yeah, that was really the point of this. I mean, I think they chose 15 people and they tried to make them polar opposites. It takes place in the 80s. That's when he was in college. And so the AIDS epidemic is the backdrop as well. And Will is coming into his own sexuality at the same time. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Very cool. Well, I finished my current audiobook. Well, I guess if I finished it, it's not current anymore. But I just finished this morning The Vampires of El Norte, which was really good. Enjoyed it. And I'm going to start next as an audiobook, The Vanishing of Carolyn Wells by Rebecca was it, how do you say that? Rigo Berry. Backwards, it looked like Rego, but it's Rigo. Yeah, so audio version of this. It's nonfiction. It's part biography and part like sleuthing to uncover more about Carolyn Wells. She was a madly prolific writer. She wrote something like 180 books.
Wow.
And her publishing days were kind of like between 1890 to 1940. And she wrote a lot of different genres, but I think mystery is what she was really known for. And so she was pumping out these mystery novels, like 3 a year, a decade before Agatha Christie came on the scene. And do you know her name now?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah,
You know,
I've
she's
never heard of
one
her.
of those prolific very popular women writers who disappeared from literary history until now. She is back, and I really look forward to this audiobook. And I know the author is doing some events as well, so maybe check out her website and see if she might be coming to a place near you.
Yeah, we'll put a link to her website in the down below, as I always say. I'm listening to 2 audiobooks at the same time, which I don't usually do. And the reason I'm listening to this one, which is called Between Two Kingdoms, A Memoir of a Life Interrupted by Sulika Jawad, let's see if it'll show up there, is because I watched a documentary last night called American Symphony about John Batiste. And I heard about this documentary from both the authors Shuli Kaywood and Ann Patchett, who have shouted out this documentary. I think it's nominated for an Academy Award. John Batiste is having his moment as a musician. He won many Grammys last year, I believe. And the documentary follows his rise as a musician, but also his marriage to Sulika, who at the age of 22, for the first time, was diagnosed with myeloma. And as the documentary is being filmed, she's diagnosed 10 years later, where it has come out of remission. She thought she was in remission and safe. And so it follows this meteoric rise that he's having, while at the same time in his private life, this really terrible thing has happened. And he was the band leader for the Colbert Show. I mean, he really was doing very well in his career. And I just found her really fascinating. And when she first had cancer in her early 20s, she started writing a column in the New York Times called Life Interrupted. So that's what that heading of a memoir of a life interrupted refers to. So I'm on chapter 5, and so far she's still in her 20s and hasn't even been diagnosed for the first time. So she narrates, and really compelling, and I cannot recommend the documentary highly enough. It was just so good.
Do you remember where you streamed it from? Just curious.
I think Netflix.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Netflix. Yeah. It's one of the main, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah, so really, and great music in it. He's from New Orleans, so, really fun in that way.
Nice. Well, in other bookish news, One Wrong Word by Hank Philippi Ryan is out now.
Yes. Go to her social media and you'll see this everywhere.
Yes.
What happens if you stick your tongue out?
You'd lick the
creepy.
book.
She talked with us about this book on one of our videos, so we'll put a link to that in the down belows as well.
Yes.
She told us what the inspiration was for it. So it's very of its moment as far as people. It's not hard for people to take things you say and images that you create and twist them. So yeah, and talk about someone who's out on tour.
Oh yeah, she's out there. So
yeah.
We'll put a link to her site below, so you can check that out as well.
Yeah, the tires or little wheels on her suitcase must just be like sparks are coming off them, because every time I look, she's somewhere else.
Indeed.
Let us know what you're reading. We really, really want to know. What are you listening to? We got some good audiobook recommendations on last Friday reads. Keep them coming.
Thank you so much, everybody. Happy
Happy
reading.
reading.